I just found out, and I still don't know what's all the fuss about. If the flowers grow, well, I feel alright. But I'm not okay. Why would I choose to fight? Same thing happens anywhere.
You're listening to Non-Stop Rock Talk with Tyson Bryden.
Donnie, the king of power pop. Welcome back to Non-Stop Rock Talk. It's great to have you on the show again. To be honest, your first go-around has been the most downloaded on my podcast. I think you were more than 100 downloads ahead of every other interview, which I thought was amazing. I think in the first week there was over 200 downloads. It was awesome.
Well, you know, they say misery loves company. Thank you very much. Happy to be on yourself. Well, happy to do it.
Thank you. So anyways, man, how are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Yeah, feeling good. You know, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything's going well. And, you know, knocking out more stuff and working on a lot of things and a lot of very positive shit coming up.
That's amazing.
In these not so positive times, you know, it's like these days and a little bit of the future here looks a little brighter for me somehow than it has in a while.
Oh, that's fantastic. I mean, that's good. I mean, with the whole COVID situation, I mean, I'm sure you're in Illinois, right? And I'm sure it's kind of been the same as it has been up here. We're slowly moving things. I mean, things are opening. Toronto, they opened up to what we call stage 3 today, which is kind of a good thing. So we can now go into bars and whatnot where we were only allowed on patios and things like that. So,
right. Well, be careful. Still be careful and be cautious. And you know, I know a lot of people are going to want to test the waters first and see how things go with that. Because, you know, I'd rather, you know what my grandfather used to say, the early bird gets the worm, but the second mouse gets the cheese.
That's such a great
Make sense to you?
It totally does. So good. So let's talk about the song you released not too long ago entitled All My Favorite Things. It's very laid back, yet it's an amazing track. Give me a little bit of insight into that track.
Well, that's easy. Last year, well, actually, it was the end of 2018, like around Thanksgiving, my pancreas just decided to melt on me. And I got rushed to the hospital. I spent over a month in the hospital, you know, lost a lot of weight. I was, you know, basically was told I could possibly die. And you know, just that whole movie, surreal moment, you know what I mean? And when I got out of there, I hit the ground running when I got out of that hospital. I think within 2 or 3 days, I was shooting the Instant Karma video after a month or something on my back. And, you know, all the energy from the fans and everything and the prayers and all this and that has just really brought me to life. So when I get out and I'm trying to, you know, get back into my life, all that I'm being told and everybody, you know, breathing down my back that you can't eat this, you can't go do this, you can't smoke this, you can't, you know, you got to do this, that, exercise, that, and, you know, and here's your blueberries for dinner tonight. Here's your slice of watermelon and a piece of broccoli, or, you know, the chicken, plain ass chicken and shit. I'm like, you know, I took about 2 or 3 weeks of that, and then I just said, you know what? I said, why would I bother living for this? You know what I mean? It's like I can't do anything. You know, I gave up the drugs and the alcohol, so that's gone. A lot of the whoring goes along with the drugs and the alcohol, so the chicks are gone. Now you're taking the food and you're taking, basically I said all of my favorite things, and that was the inspiration for the song. And I said, you know, fuck this. said, I'm going to, the lyrics are exactly how I felt. I'm going to take my chances, you know. I'll take my chances, and I believe I'm okay, and I'm going to be okay. I feel okay, and I'm just going to be cautious, and I'm going to be mindful and sensible, but I'm not going to be a slave or a prison held hostage to my, you know, pancreatic health or anything like that, so that to extend a life that I wouldn't be enjoying, you know. So that's where the song came from. And then as we came closer to release time, because it was going to be the flip side of the, I'm releasing a 45 record, actual vinyl 45 record, and it's one side is called Party Time, the other side is All My Favorite Things. I was about to release Party Time, but all of a sudden, that's right when the pandemic hit. And it was, you know, and I was getting ready to, gearing up with my band. We were in rehearsals, getting ready to go out and perform and you know, bring the, you know, the 30 years of music back out to the venues and to the fans and see everybody live. And I was excited for that and working hard. And we were going to have this big single, Party Time, which is like the rock anthem that I've been trying to write for 30 years. That one that We Are the Champions, or I Want to Rock and Roll All Night. You know, that kind of thing that bridges the generation gaps and will hook the masses. And I finally got it, and I was like, this is going to be great. This song with the launching the tour, which is still in support of the Beautiful Things record, you know, because I'm not giving up on that record. It's too good, and it didn't get a fair shake yet, you know, so we didn't get to fully support it. Well, as that happened and the pandemic hit, the timing couldn't have been worse, you know. It's like, it's now not party time. So looking at the other song, it dawned on me, said, holy shit, does this really coincidentally, you know, relate to everybody out there right now? This is, you know, that's what the song, you know, are we going to, you know, we gonna live in fear? Are you gonna, you know, and you know, kind of have, you know, a lesser quality of life, or are we gonna take our chances? And so we released it, and it's been getting good response. And it was what was once just a very personal thing, you know, from me for me, turned out to be something very universally. To correlate to the rest of the world.
That's amazing. It's a killer track, and I think the video is really good as well. Just the fact that you use so many photos from throughout your career being shown on this nostalgic old television with, and then in one section of the video, and then there's just these other graphics of you and your name as this is being played, and it's like kind of reeling through. I love that concept.
Yeah, that's Lee Stokes, my right-hand man artist, and as I said, I'm not giving up on the Beautiful Things record, so I'm releasing singles, you know, till we can get to support this record, and singles that are in support of that record. And if you've seen the Beautiful Things cover, you'll see that that's all conducive to this promo video for All My Favorite Things. We're continuing on in that you know, that whole theme. And so instead of people sending in their pictures of just what they want to put on the record cover, what they think is beautiful, this time I said, send in your pictures of you fucked up and partying, and if you have pictures of with me partying, and because I partied with half the world, you know what I mean? And so then they sent those in, and you know, I just really, and look how fucking cool it looks, even if you don't understand or you don't know exactly what you're looking at, you know, that it's appealing to the eye. And I don't know if anybody's ever really done that before, but just use the relationship you have with your fans, your loyal fans and friends, and correlate it. And because they're as big a part of it, if not more, than I am, you know what I mean? And so to involve them, I think is you know, hence the cliche, a beautiful thing.
Yeah. No, it's amazing, and I mean that I have the vinyl of Beautiful Things.
Yeah, me too. Isn't that great?
Oh, it looks amazing. I mean, the CD, you won't see the CD cover, you won't see the pictures as well. So with the vinyl, it's really nice to look at all that stuff, and there's so much going on. And I believe that we did speak of that before, but I mean, I can't say enough about the music on that album, but the whole package itself with that cover and
did you listen to the vinyl?
Yeah, I love it.
On the record player?
Yeah. Yep.
That's what really stoked me about it, you know what I mean? That's what I grew up, you know, that's what I always wanted to. Because, you know, we just barely squeaked that first Enuff Z Nuff record onto vinyl, which I think it might have been the last vinyl pressed in the United States.
Yeah.
And this, you know, to be able to do that again and for it actually to be something that people are doing and going back to, those are really magical. Those are really special, those albums. You know, you have that big thing to look at, you know, and let your imagination do the work. And, you know, you look at it over and you listen to it over a million times. And instead of a CD, you kind of lose that, you know, just that. I don't know, you're losing something. And then to hear that little bit of hiss and scratchiness with the record, and it's just, that's what it's all about to me, you know.
Well, what's actually funny about that, as you mentioned that, is that a buddy of mine, I think I did mention this before, but I don't think I've mentioned it in this context, but I had brought that album over to his house at Christmas time. I said, you got to listen to this album, man. It's phenomenal. And he loved it. But then down the road, he listened to it on a Spotify or something like that, and he said, I'm not getting it as much. It's not the same. He goes, that vinyl.
Well, fuck him, man. Fuck him. Not kidding. Not liking it anymore. Then he kissed my ass.
He still liked it, but he just thought, he's like, the vinyl just sounds, you know, like you're getting the separation and it's not compressed, and you're, you know, like you're totally hearing it differently. So
I understand what you're saying. Yeah, I mean it's it's the analog. It's the old analog method of listening to music, and you know, because when you press a vinyl, you're taking an actual recording, and and the original one is cut into a big piece of an acetate. It's like a thick, soft record, and it's actually burning. You know, the groove is like, you know, the little needle is actually cutting the groove and putting the song and the information on there. And so when you play it back, you know, it's analog. It's not digital. It's not all like crystal clear. Or, you know, like the new TVs or the new way they're shooting movies and videos or stuff like that. It's too clear now.
It's too clear.
It's like when you watch it, everything looks like an old soap opera now. You know what I mean?
It almost looks like it's not, you know how movie production has always looked.
You don't feel like you're seeing that anymore.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. And it's funny to the point as well, like, for years I listened to, you know, the Enuff Z Nuff albums on CD, and then when I finally tracked down Strength from Europe and the first one on vinyl, it was like, it sounded like I remember it when I first heard it. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, okay, this is exactly how I want to hear it now. And there's just a little bit of difference to the CD, because the CD, I always find that the drums on a CD sound digital to me. It's just not as warm, right? So
yeah, it's a difference between digital and audio and analog. You know, even in the recording process of recording music nowadays, everything goes in digital into the hard drive. It's not tape or anything anymore, and you're not able to, when you record it analog on tape, you're able to hit the tape harder, and where it gives it a you know, it almost breaks up a little bit and just kind of overdrives stuff. And as where digital won't do that, digital will just clip out, and the signal will just clip out and disappear in spots and stuff if you hit it too hard. You know, it'll peg red. And they have all these new plugins and new devices that they use with this to simulate the analog. It's analog simulation. Everyone's using that. I'm like, well, why the fuck don't you know, I mean, I totally get the hard drive thing. I totally get that. But how quickly the industry was to switch over and to advance, where we did lose, we gained a lot of convenience and practicality and financially, the expenses were cut and everything by going with the digital recording now on computers, and certainly a lot easier for editing and post, and if you want to copy paste something in and stuff like that, it's a lot. It's crucial now as far as I would never be able to record anything if I was in there in a big studio with all those knobs and buttons and all that shit. I wouldn't know what the fuck I'm doing. You have to have an engineer, but now I can do it. But it's also bittersweet because you're, you lost that magic. And just like you said, you and your friend both can tell it's like, this don't sound the same. It don't sound as good. And those records were good enough for us all from what time Thomas Edison ground one into a piece of tinfoil all the way up until, the very early 90s.
Yeah.
It's like that's what all the great music, the greatest stuff, the classics and the stuff that they'll probably never be again that's what it all came on, and that's what everyone strives to do, and to finally get your own record and see it, just like on magazine covers. But, to have that on a record, it just sounds better. I think, a lot of the things in the world we've gone overkill. We've advanced too far in so many areas and so many aspects that we're losing a lot of the magic.
Oh, totally. I totally agree. And the great thing is that vinyl has come back, and people are buying it again, which I think is fantastic. And they're actually realizing the fact that it does sound better. So that's
well, it's also bringing back a little bit of other things in the industry, like the artwork, whatever that sells the paper or sells the plastic and the vinyl, the actual physical record store, not to mention selling turntables, things like that. So it brings something more back to it than just with the sound, But I hope they don't get too carried away with start bringing back 8-track tapes and cassettes aren't necessary anymore. Cassettes I like because you could fast forward something in your car, or you could go record something on your 4-track and then go play it in your car, and crank it up. But that was the ease of those, and then they were more compact than the big record. But there was nothing so magical and special about that, as compared to like a vinyl record.
Yeah, exactly. And it's, when I initially got the first Enuff Z Nuff album, it was actually the tape. So, and I wore the crap out of that tape because I played it so much. And so that's kind of how I initially remembered it. And then I got it on CD, and it was, I think I bought it. It was actually you remember the long boxes that they used to play?
Yeah, I remember those. Yeah.
And I think I got both Strength and that one in the long box, and I still have those copies today. But then when I started hunting down vinyl again, getting back into vinyl and getting those, it was like, oh man, like I said, there was such a difference, and it kind of brought me back. The tape isn't as good as the vinyl, but it was still, I still think it kind of was a little bit closer to what the vinyl sounded like.
Tyson, imagine this: you've struggled and worked and looked forward to your whole life for getting that album, that big album, your album out there, people that have been listening to it, and then when you get your gold record, there's not a record on there; it's a cassette.
Yeah.
You got a gold cassette instead of a big album and stuff, and it's like, what the fuck is this? You know what I mean? I gave mine away.
I don't blame you. It's a cassette. It's not a gold. Yeah, I totally. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be a record, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry. Go ahead.
Well, that's why from here on in, I'm going to try to primarily release just singles now, and unless there's some good reason to make an entire record. And everything I'm releasing on like this next one, it's all, the main release is all vinyl. It's like a little 45 record, like you and jukeboxes and stuff. And that's what this next record is. But of course, you get a digital download with it.
Yeah.
You know.
That's fucking cool.
It's awesome. I can't wait to do that.
Yeah, it might limit my sales and stuff, but I don't sell anything anyway, you know what I mean? So, what do I care?
I mean, there's guys like me that'll buy it because of you as an artist. So, I mean, I'm sure there's many others that will as well. So, but I think that concept of doing it that way is really cool.
Yeah, I mean, now with doing away with even the CDs now, I mean, those I don't even have a CD player anymore, and you know, computers don't even come with those anymore, and cars aren't being built with them and stuff. And so all you got now is a little piece of air. You have nothing to hold. You just got just the song on it. You press a button, and there it is. And there's nothing. There's nothing sacred to hold it or to possess or to have in your hands. You know what I mean? And so it's all in the cloud, or it's all in the this and that. It's like, what the fuck? But and what it is, you have to get with the times or be buried by the times. But you can still, I'm so glad when they've started coming back with these vinyls and stuff, because, you know, I mean, that just was so magical to me. And that's my whole inspiration, motivation, would never be a big famous rock star. It was all about the art.
Yeah, and that's amazing. And that's what I like to hear. I mean, but I get that. I've always got that from you, that you were kind of that type of artist. Because, I mean, thinking of the early days of Enuff Z Nuff, the first 3 albums, after that, you kind of, you know, the band started to change a bit and evolve and possibly become more of, you know, less of the 80s style of music and more of a songwriting. Not that the songs weren't great, but more of a rock band or a power pop.
The production style. Well, that was because the original record, the original band we were previewed when we came out was, you know, is what I believe and what I've always felt, and don't take me wrong when I say this, was not really the right combination of people together, and to make that, you know, because their influences were, some of them were just completely from the moon as far as my influences and my sound and stuff. And so did the best I could, and we did the best we could, and it got more difficult to incorporate those production styles. And, you know, once we got into strength and starting to get into using the orchestration and different things like that, you know, and then all of a sudden, send here, we need the solo, send in the Antichrist. You know what I mean? He come in with his guitar and blowing digs and this and that. I'm like, I get so frustrated. All right, well, here comes 20 seconds of unrelated, useless information, and then we get back to the song and stuff. And so, and granted, Derek Frigo is probably one of naturally, just with talent, probably one of the greatest guitar players that ever lived. You know, he just didn't use his head very much. But as when he was finally left, or we parted ways, I just took the bull by the horns and decided that I'm going to try to, within my limitations, still try to paint more of my vision of how I envisioned these songs and stuff. So I just started playing all the guitar, and I started getting to use all the instrumentation and you know, all that orchestration and horns and all that stuff like that. But I was still pigeonholed because of the first records, and that's what we're now known as. It's we're in the business for. It's like that heavy power pop type thing, and so it was still difficult for me to you know, you can hear a lot of the popular songs on our stuff and everything, but still, that, you know, a lot of them just got heavied out as opposed to what I would probably like to have done. And like, and as we gone through evolving through the different records, and each record, you know, I kind of tried like to raise the bar, like to evolve and to keep going. in whatever direction that I'm going, and let the songs tell me what they want to be instead of dictating the songs according to circumstances. It's that doesn't work for me. And so, like when I go back and listen to all those records, which I don't very often, but every now and then I do, and I'll be like, well, hey, that's a great song there, or that was a really good song, or did a really good job there. But for a lot of years, I wouldn't listen to them because I was kind of frustrated and aggravated that I felt the songs come along with an explanation instead of no explanation. And as I went to do my own solo things, and you can see by I think 10 or Welcome to Blue Island was really getting back to the popular sense and really finding that niche. And then came Dissonance, which was like after a 6-year break. But then I came out, I was very angst and made a very, pretty heavy record. But that's what the songs dictated that they wanted to be. But this is, like, Beautiful Things now is the very first time I've ever been able to 100% with all of the bells and whistles intact, able to paint my vision clearly as I see it and how I think that it should be. And I did that, and the reviews, they couldn't get any better.
Yeah.
If I wrote them myself, you know what I mean?
That's awesome. And I totally agree. Well, with the reviews, I totally agree with it. So I had actually, that's what kind of enticed me to buy the record, because I read some reviews on it. And usually I don't listen to them a whole lot, but I was curious, and I'm like, I'm not sure what this is going to be like. And I read the reviews, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to buy it. And then I went on YouTube, checked out the video, and I was like, okay, this is cool. So, and then when it finally arrived and I put it on, I was just, I think I probably listened to it 3 times in a row, to be honest with you. So,
thank you very much. That's great. And that's like a lot of times, like you said, you can't always go by reviews, because you're taking the words of someone's particular taste and what, in the way that they're like, what kind of food they like to eat, and then them recommending what you eat, and so, but so I've had we've always had Enuff Z Nuff, and my solo stuff has always got like fantastic reviews. Always been a critic's choice, but this one, we couldn't get better reviews, but across the board, even like I got one day, somebody sent me this one review one day, and I got an 8 out of 10, and I was fucking like, what the fuck, 8? What the fuck's wrong? What did you not hear? But then somebody said, well, that's a heavy metal magazine. I said, oh, okay. So we got that from the heavy metal magazines all the way to down to the really light pop stuff, publications and stuff, and all of them, it's just, I was overwhelmed. I still, But I heard that same record. I hear the same thing as you do, and and how cool is that to get to say, hey, that's me. Yeah. How cool is that to get to be?
Yeah, you did a stellar job. I loved the songwriting itself too. But you've always been a great songwriter. So
you still ain't seen nothing yet.
That's awesome.
There's no shortage. It's like I've got a bunch even already in the can, demoed and ready to go. And now I'm starting to track them a little better quality, so that sometimes your original demo, like the day you wrote it and you demoed it and you tracked it, there's a magic there. It might not sonically be as great, but there's a magic in the performances and things like that. So, but I have all these songs now, and if I didn't write any more songs, I'm good by releasing singles. I'm still good for another, 5 years, but that's bittersweet as well, though, because I go in these waves, like another wave will come in, and just like with Making Beautiful Things, that whole wave of songs came, and it came very shortly, in a short amount of time. I, went to make the record, and by the time I was in there making the record, newer stuff, and that was, evolving even more, was coming into play, like Plain Jane, and and Tender Lights and stuff, those were written after we were already halfway into the record, and other songs get pulled because to fit those in there. And so that's the one thing that bugs me about having all these great songs sitting there, is because, if I'm not doing an actual record, there's going to come the next wave of songs like there just presently has that I'm starting to track now, that I'm, even more stoked on than those, because I've heard those now for months, you know what I mean? And there's newer stuff that I'm more excited about, but I got to be patient and I got to be sensible and can't just be wasting the songs, you know what I mean? And so there's no danger of any of that stuff. So I'm just going to continue to evolve, and I'll get money back guarantee that I'll be still delivering. People will be happy. If you like the stuff I do, you'll be tickled pink from here on in still, or I won't release something.
Right. Yeah, you have to feel confident there. Now, with that mentioned, thinking back to the first Enuff, the debut album, the actual release, were you constantly writing at that point, even back then? I mean, there's 10 tracks on the album. How were those kind of chosen? Was there more tracks than that you had?
Insanely more. What that was, that first record was basically our greatest hits up to that point. And because once I started writing before I'd even met Chip, and then once I met Chip and we started working together, we were laying them down three at a time on this little 4-track and 8-track machine, like in batches of 10, 12. We considered them little records ourselves, you know what I mean? And here's our next record and this and that. And like 85 was recorded back, that was our first actual in the studio experiences with Chip and I as Enuff Z Nuff. But we're talking, man, I don't know, 200-300 songs up until the point, like we had new things quite a bit earlier than when the release came, and we never really played it live. It's not that I didn't like it. I always thought it was really great. It's just that the song to sing live, we only had one other guy singing, which was Chip, and that song, to sing it live, how it is, you don't get a breath. It's just repetitive over and over and over. And then when the harmonies come in, to still have to be singing, and you don't get a break or anything. And so, but there was songs like that, and Baby Loves You we had way before the first record, but that it didn't make it till the Strength record, but yeah, there's so many songs, and Chip just put one on his new Enuff Z Nuff record that was one of those songs from those days, only he sang it, and he just put it on his record, so he's borrowing from that, and hopefully he won't borrow too much more, Yeah. At least not by himself, Like, if you want to do these together or do something like that, that's great, but yeah, man, once we got our man, it was all 4 tracks and 8 tracks, and then once we got our first manager, he owned a recording studio, and we were getting big league experience in the same studio that we made our record in for a year and a half or so, tracking in all of these songs, and they're really good songs, and really well done, and we still have those that. I think Chip just released something called Clown's Lounge that has a bunch of those on it. But man, yeah, I mean, there's when he and I were writing together and stuff, we were coming out with, I don't know, 10-something songs a week, 10 really good songs a week, and just kept going and going. And then I became a stronger writer and started, catching on to things. He kind of fast-tracked me from the status of level of writer that I was when I met him up until a year later. I really progressed, considerably. And then I just did something quick and turned on the light bulbs turned on, and I just went to town with writing.
That's amazing. I mean, the thought of so much songs, and for you to say that was kind of like the first album with your biggest hits, that's unbelievable. Now,
well, that's everybody's first record is basically their greatest hits. Some guys didn't have a lot to choose from, or some guys their hits aren't as great. But that's what it is. It's your best stuff up until that date on your first record, you know. But in our case, it wasn't necessarily the best songs. It was the most appropriate because we went through a couple different lineup changes as we were from the time that Chip and I first put it together till their first record came out. And then, you know, once there was a lighter side, and there was a really power poppy, and you know, with the personnel changes. And then when Derek came in, everything kind of had to cater to his playing as well. And so that's why those particular songs all made it together. You know, if you don't just release a record just with just a bunch of great songs. There has to be, like Beautiful Thing, when you put it on from the beginning to the end, it's like it's a perfect journey. It's like a movie, you know what I mean? And one song goes perfectly into the next, and there's every single element that record needed, and not too many of these, and not too few of these, or something missing, you know what I mean? And so it has to make sense, and sometimes you won't necessarily put a great song on a record. It might not be the best song that, you know, but it fits the record, you know what I mean? So,
yeah, which is, and you know what, it's funny too, because I was listening to Peach Fuzz today, and I bought that, I mean, if you recall, in the mid-90s. It was hard to find material, so anything by like a band from the 80s, early 90s, I had to go into Toronto, because I lived about an hour from Toronto. So I ended up getting Peach Fuzz on import, and the first two tracks on that album, I mean, even to this day, I still listen to them and absolutely love them. And but as I was listening to them today, and I went on Wikipedia, and I was doing a little bit of research about this album, I came to discover that You're Not Me was for Animals, I believe.
Yeah, that whole record is a collection of things that got bumped out from the previous records, and that's why there are a lot of different sounds and stuff. It was kind of a consolidated of tracks that we already had that were strong, but didn't go on those records, and they started adding up and building up there, you know, and like clogging the dam. And so we were in a real transitional point right there, going from, you know, our second major label to indie labels and stuff. And so we had a little bit of downtime there. That's why we released that in 1985, because we had that already sitting in the can, along with a bunch of other stuff. But like, there's a song on there called Let It Go. That was originally going to be the first single off the Strength record, and then it got bumped for Heaven or Hell. As I wrote I wrote Heaven or Hell. Like, the record was almost done, and we're listening to it, and that was they slated Let It Go to be the first single, and I was like, you know, I don't know about that. And I just heard things were missing from that record, and it was kind of very darkish and mid-rangey sounding, and didn't have a lot of raw energy like the first record had. And so I kind of just got lucky, and you know, Heaven or Hell came to me, and then we decided to take something else, and we put Baby Loves You on there, and it had Mother's Eyes, but I was never a big fan of that song. I don't know why, but had that and that one on there, and that ended up becoming I think the first single. Yeah. But yeah, there's stuff on Peach Fuzz, great stuff on. One of my favorites, Message of Love.
Yeah.
I love that song, Message of Love, and that was during the Animal session. And Chip and I we were on the phone talking last night, and we were just telling stories back and forth, and he had mentioned the one situation where we were with ADCO, and Derek Shulman, the president, came down while we were in there. We're in there demoing and polishing up the song selections that we were chose, and any couple of new ideas for him to hear. And he came in, and he was so frustrated because we had gone and tracked 30 songs. he's like, what are you fucking doing? He goes, we're supposed to do 10. We're like, well, we think we maybe do a triple album yard for our debut. He's like, you're fucking nuts. Guys are crazy. He goes, too many great songs. He says, it's overkill. He says, you got to slow down and stop. And, but, you know, how do you do that? You know, we're just, especially for me, it's not about fame and fortune. It's about the art. And that's just like my favorite fucking thing to do is keep writing and tracking new songs and these little creations. And it's a passion, you know, it's a labor of love. But yeah, that was funny. We were laughing about that. We had like 33 songs when he came down, and he was freaking the fuck out. He's like, he was actually angry with us.
Really?
Because we had too many great songs. Because then all of a sudden he's having to listen through that, and everyone now is also in the band. Him, other people involved are like now kind of divided and torn between other songs that weren't originally slated to go on there. And it's like, we have already got a plan. And this and that, what are you guys doing? And I did that again in the Animals session, because when downtime where I'm not doing something, I'm out at the piano or messing around, or if you're in that zone. And it's like how I wrote Innocence, you know, was during the strength mixing time, and wrote, you know, stuff for, you know, like there's a song called Fingertips and another song that I just used on the White album and stuff. These, you know, they just kept churning out. And during the Animals thing, and Clive Davis was like, oh, yeah, okay, another great song by Donnie Vie. It's like it wasn't even appreciated anymore. You know, there was just so many of them. And always been that way, you know.
That's crazy. So I mean, there's obviously all these songs that people have never heard. That I would take it.
Some people that really have tried, you know, these bootlegging guys and these these fans that are just fanatical. They fucking trade things. They get a hold of, you know, through the years, like I'll lend somebody a demo tape or new stuff, or Derek would give them away, and somebody would give them away, and they'd slip through the system and end up in other people's hands, you know, and just going through it. And so there's to the extent of, there's a fan that I have that was a bootlegger through the years, and he was still bootlegging, and I finally gave him my blessing to keep doing that. He has just sent me a hard drive with everything that he had collected. It was 500 gigabytes of unreleased songs, of the old demos, of video footage, of stuff that I hadn't seen or heard in fucking 30 years. And I was like, holy shit. And stuff that I think I probably would have forgot existed if it weren't for this. You know what I mean? That much shit. So some people have heard it.
That's cool. I mean, I'm sure some of this popped up on YouTube. I'm sure there's some. I'm going to have to look it up now.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, well, I'll tell you who you can go. You can go to a kid. He's named Tim Ertz.
Tim Ertz? Okay.
Yeah, URTZ. Him and his brother, they've got like everything. I mean, I went to this bootleg guy to get my stuff. You know, it was like a bank vault. There was like, oh my God, I never would have heard or thought about that stuff again. Now Chip probably has thought about those things, but that would have hit me, blindsided me. With like, what the fuck? He beats me to the punch and releases things and stuff, but I would never dream of releasing those old early demos and things like that in a sense of retracking them or anything like that, because I keep growing and there's new stuff. And I probably would be, if I lived to be 80 years old, might possibly then start needing them.
Yeah, when you can't remember. I mean,
like I said, I've got 15, 20 of them backed up right now.
That's crazy, man. That's insane. I love to hear that, though. That's amazing. Now, I often wondered about touring with Enuff Z Nuff back in the day. I bet you have a ton of stories or crazy Spinal Tap things that happened. I mean, is there anything that off the top of your head that you recall that was, you know, like kind of, I mean, I'm sure there's a ton of stories.
You know, that's a difficult question because with that group of people and along with the crew that we had at that time and just the insanity of and the outrageousness of the characters in that cast, every day, you know, some people's like their craziest, wildest story that they have of their life was a fucking Tuesday afternoon for Enuff Z Nuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was just outrageous shit. And it's another thing Chip and I were talking about is if we just can sit in front of the camera, just he and I and maybe our old manager and just tell stories. Because once one story leads into another, and, you know, if you putting on the spot here, like, can I, you know, think of a specific story, it's real difficult because I wouldn't even know where to start, you know, but it was just so outrageous and a lot of stories you probably wouldn't want to put in an interview, you know what I mean?
That's probably true, man. That's probably true. I mean, it was just one of those things. I mean, I was kind of thinking about it, and I'm like, I wonder. But no, that's cool. And you know what? When you mentioned you were sitting down and actually filming something like that, and you know, that would be cool to watch. That's something I'd be interested in seeing. You know what I mean? And I'm sure there's a lot of.
That's what I thought. You know, not necessarily a documentary, just to sit down. You know, have the thing rolling, and just with the spontaneity and the way us remembering them and recalling them. And even though last night what we were talking about and discussing got really heavy, and it was some business-related matters that have some issues, strong issues that we have, but the first 20 minutes of the conversation was that kind of stuff, and then following, you know, the knockdown brawl we had. Then we went back to that, and if people, I was thinking, man, if people could hear this stuff and just through our mouths, coming out of our mouths, and recalling it, and just the energy and how we're laughing, and it's outrageous ass shit, you know, and if people could hear that, and we could just put a camera in front of it and just roll, you know, I mean, we could go on for. You know, if you sit and talk to me or you sit and talk to Chip, obviously, look how long-winded I've been just in this interview. You know what I mean? So you sit and talk to us, it's like you go by 4 or 5 hours of just, and I enjoy telling the stories as much as people enjoy hearing them. You know, and you never have to tell. Chip might tell like a few of the same stories over and over. You don't need to. There's always, you name a time or a situation, this and that, there's a fucking story about that at that time. No, remember this and remember that. Yeah. You know?
Oh, that's cool, man. That's so cool.
Hilarious shit, though. Insanity. Hilarious. Wasn't so hilarious for some of those around us, obviously. It made we were kind of known as loose cannons, and people were, you know, nervous around to put it mildly, you know. But from my point of view, or from an actual fan's point of view, it's magical and amazing, and it's very entertaining, enjoyable. Now, if you're dealing business with us, having to endure that kind of shit in a business sense, it's the exact opposite reaction.
Well, of course, yeah, that's right. I mean, there's business and then there's pleasure, right? So, that's cool. So, so this single, is there any tentative date for a release yet? But are you just waiting till this COVID thing kind of just, you know, settles down?
No, we had it slated and we had a release date, but within the last week, it just occurred to me that this particular song has a potential, much more potential on so many levels of achieving so much more, that I decided this song can't come out without a video, without a great video. And so that's going to take a little bit of time, a little bit of effort and energy, and a little bit of money. But it's got to be, it needs to be, you know, to accompany this song. And it's the only way that you can probably deliver this tune. And it's like a game-changing song. And so I'm thinking that the release date, you probably could find out quicker than I could just by going on my sites or something and see the advertisement, but that's not going to be, I don't think we're going to make that date because due to this video we're going to make. And, you know, everything happens for a reason at a time and a place. And, you know, maybe like you just said, you're just able now just to finally go back out and stuff and go to clubs and bands are starting to play and stuff. So it kind of is, it is party time, but I would imagine in at least a few weeks, that, you know, people are going to want to see what's happening before they go back out. You know what I mean? And so once it's open, you know, you're going to, like what Grandpa said, the second mouse gets the cheese. So I think it'll all work out that way. You know what I mean? But it'll be very soon, as fast as I can make that video.
That's awesome. I mean, I'm looking forward to hearing it. As you're saying, it's like your unique anthem. So I'm very curious to hear that. So
tell you what, you send me an email and I'll send you the song after this interview and I'll let you hear it. Just don't let it fall out of your pocket.
I would not do that.
I'll send Porky Pig and Richard Nixon at your door. You know, the guys in the masks.
That's right.
I ain't fucking around anymore. People fucking me. You know what I mean?
No, I wouldn't. No, I would not do that. I mean, the amount of stuff.
The contingency team.
What's that? Sorry?
Call it the contingency team.
That's right. You got to take matters in your own hands sometimes. Anyways, I want to, it's always such a pleasure to talk to you, and I want to thank you again for coming on the show for the second time, and hopefully, I'm sure down the road we'll have round 3 again, so.
Well, you know, interviews like with you, it's probably more difficult for you, and because it doesn't feel like it's an interview. I feel like I'm just talking to a buddy, you know, and telling stories and things like that. And I get really long-winded because that's just the way I am, you know. But so you're going to have to do your best to edit it down or whatever, or whatever in its present form. I don't care, but that's up to you. But I really enjoy interviews like this, and you know, it wasn't that same nagging negative question that I've been getting a lot lately, and you know, a lot more about the creative and the art and this and that, and that's what I really love to talk about.
Well, and I have to be honest that I prefer to talk about that stuff rather than other things. You know, I mean, as a musician myself, I want to know about, you know, I'm kind of picking your brain as well. I want to hear your story and how you know, how things came together and, you know, that kind of stuff.
Well, you could use me as a fountain of information of what not to do. You got a big education on what not to do by talking to me. You know, well, you know, I really enjoyed it.
It's actually funny. I did one of those home things, like where I played acoustic guitar and did a bunch of cover songs for my living room. And and it was a lot of it was artists that have influenced me, like as a musician. And I actually did "Baby Loves You."
Aw, that's cute. Thank you. I would have loved to have seen that. I didn't see that. Maybe send me the clip or something.
I don't know if I have.
There's a lot. Everybody's doing that these days. The playing field is really level right now, so everybody's doing that, and everybody has the same accessibility as you know, as Paul Stanley has the same as you. You know, you're in the same arena. It's just a matter of exposure and people seeing it, and so everybody's getting a chance to really do that these days, and they are. Some of them, you know, I'm happy for them, and it's wonderful that they're doing it. But you know, it gets oversaturated with a lot of stuff that's not bad entertaining for anybody but themselves. You know what I mean? But I'm sure yours is good. I can tell by talking to you. You know, you seem like you're almost professional.
Exactly.
The way you do interviews, I think you should be successful with it because you make somebody feel comfortable.
Yeah. Well, I try my best too. You know what? The people have been asking me to do it again, and to be honest with you, I was like, I wasn't that comfortable doing it, so I was like, okay, well, I'll try this and see. And then a bunch of people were like, you got to do it again. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do my best. So
you went another interview or one with me?
No, another one of those things for my living room. Another playing for my living room.
Oh.
a bunch of people.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
If you got people that want to see it, and if it's good, that's what it's all about, you know. More power to you. Do as many as you can while the you know, you have a captive audience still at this point. You know what I mean?
exactly. Well, I was asked last night if I'm going to do another one, so I'm like, okay, well, I better get my shit together and figure it's not the same fucking songs that I did last
So
week.
you sing too?
Yeah, I sing. Well, anyways, I like I said, I want to thank you, and it's been such a pleasure, and as always. So,
Thank you very much. It was my only one today, so you got everything I had.
So, thank you very much. Okay, Donnie. Well, you have a great night, and I will send you that email as soon as we're done, and hopefully I'll talk to you soon.
All right, as soon as I see it, I'll send you the song. And thank you very much, and good luck to you. And I hope you do some business with it.
Okay, man. Thank you very much. Take it easy.
All right, Tyson, have a good day, buddy.
Okay, Donnie. Take care. Bye.
Singing songs and drinking with my friends. That's girls, that's food, and smoking cigarettes. And if it's how it has to end, I guess that's just the way it goes. I won't let nothing clip my wings. I'd rather take my chances in the dark than lose all my favorite things. I'm a Chicago boy, but I love LA. And when I lose my joy,